think one of the
Well,
houses.
the sidewalks
around
are typically the
construction.
last thing prior to sod. We actually wait until
It
after
was,
the
that's about
utilities
what it
in.
was then.
And that's where, like I say, we were unaware. It's just we've got ourselves boxed into a corner. But my real question is why, just because we've written it into the bylaws or whatever we want to call it, if they don't go anywhere and they're not going to do anything, why wouldn't we take that and put it somewhere where it matters?
Because I think the whole concept is if everybody puts sidewalks in, maybe not in our lifetime, but eventually they will connect to something.
No, never.
Well, that's.
Well, you,
I mean,
you can say that. But
I mean,
I
I don't see it unless
And
it's sort of a
then
natural
the concrete
disaster
you
blowing
put in.
down all those old houses back there because I mean, that's the charm. Nobody's going to break them up and develop them unless some natural disaster comes in. And at that point, yes, I concur. But at that given time, if I paid for the sidewalks that went somewhere else, could the city not take that money at that time when they became useful and put it back over here?
Mr. Whitfield, you and I know it's gonna take more than $5,000 to put those sidewalks in, and that would be my answer too.
No.
Because you put a ditch in here, a concrete ditch, that you could have put the sidewalks in first, you could have put culverts
So you
in.
would, let me ask you a question.
And not every sidewalk is straight. I've seen them go around telephone poles, and I've seen them meander back and forth, and to me, you chose
I
to
chose
test
it.
us, basically. Look,
How did I know? When did I know?
you should have known, you're a developer, it's not my responsibility, it's yours.
Isn't right up the street.
You should
from
know the
51,
law.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
no
I should.
sidewalks that connect,
I should know.
or is that the
But
street
the
over?
question is that in the long game, a paved ditch or a sodded ditch, which one is the cheaper for the city to maintain?
Paved it.
Thank you. I did that. I told Joe Frank I was gonna do that. I said it's gonna look better. I wasn't trying to negate a sidewalk. I'm still willing to pay for the sidewalk.
That's more than the last time this happened.
I mean, and you say it's not enough money. Well, I mean, calculate the square footage.
Well,
It's
now,
60
now
it's
you're
60.
gonna have to do something different. If you put a sidewalk in there, you're gonna have to put some type of bracing siding, concrete walls or something in there.
And
See,
okay.
it's an issue now. It's definitely an issue.
It was an issue all along because that ditch went, when the pipe came under this street and went under that street, the water still had to go. All I did was push that water a little bit towards, whichever street that is, Park Street, Church.
When was it brought to your attention that it needed
When they were getting
sidewalk?
the final inspection on the houses. I'm not bashful. I'd have brought it up 6 months ago, 6 weeks ago, whatever. I mean, I'm not trying to get anything over on you.
Save two big pretty trees.
The only logical place to put a sidewalk on those lots is going up Southern Street to the east between those two oak trees. There is enough room for a sidewalk to go in that little short distance there. But it's a steep slope going down into that cover. And I don't know.
I don't either. I mean, I literally tried to take the lemon of the ditch and the culverts and poured the head walls. I poured the head walls on both of them, so they were better than they were, by all means. I've got the water where it gets out of there, but it's not too fast. I mean, we got it on about 1.5%.
Is there a difference between an old town lot and a subdivision? See, an old town lot is already existing, and then a new subdivision.
You know, there is a difference. If it was stayed a town lot, it would have been a town lot that be basically created a new subdivision.
Like a minor lot, I don't know.
Well, it was more than a minor lot because you did a 3-lot subdivision, which is fine. I mean, that's perfectly legal, but it changes it from it's no longer Old Town Lot 333. It's now subdivision 333, or however you say it, 333 subdivision.
Yeah.
It's got a different plat looking page and everything. It's a plat and recorded subdivision.
Right.
And the lots, I guess, are numbered 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's only on Church Street is what we're recommending, correct?
No, we're recommending all the way down Church and Carson.
Oh, those, I'm saying, say
He's
that again.
requesting for both streets for it to be mitigated.
It's this stretch here, and I'm assuming
We
that
could
is-
do the, on the Park Street is not totally impossible,
Yeah, I'm kind of looking
but
at this one.
Five one east and west.
Yeah, I mean, and that looks like there would be enough room to put a sidewalk.
it's just we have that one inlet where that water was always coming, where that curve's cut, where that water was coming off the end of that pipe, and we reconcreted that. That's been like that since before we got there.
So,
What's on the opposite corner?
The apartments.
And
The
over there-
apartments in Merle Hollow and Southern Heat Airs on one corner, the apartments on the other corner, and it's a White House that's been there for a long, long time. I can't remember.
And I apologize,
The
I
Galloway-
did not
Galloway
know that.
property.
The Galloway.
It's only one.
the Galloway property.
Galloway.
Joe,
And is,
Sir, I got a question for Keith. Like with the apartments there in Merle Holloman's place there and all that, if the building stays empty for a year, they have to bring it up to code, correct?
If it changes uses and it stays empty.
But if it doesn't change uses,
If it doesn't change uses and it's less than a year, then they would still be a legal non-conformance.
or if it did change uses, would they be required to do sidewalks
Yes,
to an existing building?
right now it is,
that's the,
it's zone,
yeah.
well, it's zone commercial, so.
yeah, all that's commercial, cause they had to get a space, but maybe we did that on top, right down that side.
And just go straight.
Can I get my question answered now?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I mean, I guess,
Oh, I'm saying Andrew asked a question.
you know, I mean, they.
I'm so sorry.
Women first, you know, how
You
they-
know I don't do it, I don't know.
okay. Could we look,
You couldn't see me talking.
you can hear me though, you want me to scream? It's feasible possible to do Park Street. Could you give us, could you, give us a cost for, the mitigate Church Street?
How much it would cost to?
How long is my property across Church Street?
Where's the plat?
110 plus 90, so 200 feet.
200 times 5,
This is the end.
1,000 divided by 60, 16 yards. Yeah, side of,
He said, I know what I
about
mean.
$2,000.
He said, you couldn't make the sidewalk there.
Not anything on Church, but put it on the Park. And that's a compromise, and all that's a compromise.
Oh, yeah.
Cause I agree, I mean,
I just think
everything.
Now,
Yeah. And I know we've gotta do a better job of getting a handle on this on the front end. But, you know, to try and be fair and.
But, let me answer this question, I guess this will be a turning question. Could, and I'm asking now, so ain't no motion, I'm asking. Okay. If we say that the sidewalk must be put in on Park as required and mitigate that it costs to be determined by the engineer. Is that a legal?
Well, first of all,
I'm asking. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, I was gonna answer.
Okay.
first of all, we don't have a provision in our ordinance for mitigation.
Okay.
Okay, so that's one thing. So you waive the
So
requirement,
does your tree ordinance have mitigation?
not the sidewalks.
Not the sidewalks.
We're talking about the sidewalks, so you would have to,
Okay, that's
you'd
what
have
I'm
to
saying.
figure out how you're gonna do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking, I was for clarity,
But you could require them on whatever street you wanna require them on, and then we could enter into an agreement with, Mr. Whitfield to pay a fee in lieu, or I guess we call it that for now. But we don't have at least, unless I've missed something, Keith, we don't have a provision in our ordinance right now to have the alternative from
Okay,
mitigation.
that's what I'm asking, I think, that could be a legal,
We'd have to figure out a way to do the cost. And I'm sure if you did that, the mayor would probably want to set it up
So
in
you
a
said right
certain
here is
account,
where it needs
right.
so it doesn't get
Certain. You go over the figure?
Somewhere between 3,500 and 4,000.
So how was the whole thing gonna cost $5,000?
Now, he may be planning on doing a lot of it,
I do, I have my guys.
kind of his
My
guys.
labor, no equipment costs, my labor, my stuff. Sidewalks trade for $3.50 a square foot out here in the house building market. Now, in your world, they're five and a quarter probably. But in the house building market, Flatworks paying anywhere from $3.50 to $3.85. And that's the number I based it on.
And that's the number we have to be using, the number of other places.
Yeah.
I have a question. Since this came up in the past, did we charge the last person that didn't have to do sidewalks mitigation fee
They built sidewalks.
on the entire piece of property?
It was the, commercial development on Highway 51.
And it
Just
stops
off the
halfway?
square.
It stops halfway?
And that was by your agreement.
That's what I'll need to say.
But,
Yeah, y'all, that was different because y'all waived the requirement.
each case down on their, Alderman.
I agree, 100%.
So we can't say that because we didn't do it there, we can't do it here.
So let's look at what we got looking at here.
It's just like.
I agree, 100%.
No, and I will point out that since that is a commercial project, it did not fall under the subdivision regulations, which Mr. Whitfield's development does fall under. The commercial development comes under the, design standards ordinance. And the design standard ordinance, all commercial projects are required to put sidewalk in when they do not exist.
Even if the city misses it, what happens?
Then I go back to them and ECRO and say it's required. And I admit to you, I made a mistake. I learned from that mistake and I haven't repeated it since.
But there has been past mistakes before this, that I know there's not sidewalks in certain.
And I'm sure my predecessors all made mistakes.
Well, we ain't trying, I mean, come on now, we go, if y'all wanna go, with y'all, let's do that at some other time. There's no more discussion. I'm ready to make a motion. I'm ready to move.
We have a motion, any more comments?
Anybody have comments? Got time?
Okay. We're gonna ask people outside, any comments on this?
I can tell you this, that anybody that walks through there, they don't walk on the sidewalk anywhere when they go. They walk right down the middle of the road, but we walk right down through there. I can tell you that, even when you get to the top of the hill, you're not on the sidewalk, you're walking right up. You go up the top of the hill, you turn right, you go straight to the cemetery.
But that doesn't necessarily,
You can't walk on
mitigate
the
the fact that
sidewalk.
we should have.
You
There's
cannot
an
walk on
abandoned
the sidewalk.
sidewalk over there.
The sidewalks over there in horrible shape. And that's what I'm saying, if anything, go where you've actually got them. I mean, we rode bicycles down them in the 70s and they were in pretty good shape, but that was 40 years ago.
I've got
There's
a yard
one over
that
there
has a
growing up
sidewalk
in
and has not a
Diane's.
sidewalk.
And, you know, and I'm gonna be blatantly honest with you, this sidewalk ordinance is gonna cost the city a lot of money in the future on these sidewalks when you get these 2 and 3 and 4,000 lots in this town, and it's evident that a sidewalk does not have a lifetime.
For future reference, can I ask, who is in charge of the maintenance of these sidewalks from here on out?
The
Is the city or the-
homeowner should be.
Yes.
But so if that homeowner opts, just like a tree I plant in his yard, if he opts to take that, to not have that sidewalk repaired, what is the city's, where's your, what can you do with it?
We've got to get a new ordinance on that, a new
I mean, that's what I'm
sidewalk.
saying, but you got, you know.
Right now, we don't have
The sidewalks, they're called city sidewalks is the term that's always been used. But, I mean, I'm just not a proponent of sidewalks because they put kids in other people's yards and they riding their big wheel down that sidewalk and they get off and the guy jumps in his car late for work and runs over a kid.
Just like I said before, I think we moving.
Let's move on.
Where we at?
Do we have a motion?
I'm trying to see one I can get through,
All right.
recognize everybody.
Maybe, is there anybody outside wants to speak? I don't know.
Would you ask him, Shane, on the sidewalk issue or item?
Joe Whitfield sidewalk controversy. Controversy.
I told him to leave, Joe. No takers.
All right,
I don't make a motion.
I'll leave 12 pack in the police car.
To require the sidewalks as previously approved on Park and to enter into an agreement at a cost to be determined on Southern Street.
Church.
Church. Southern the intersection.
I'll second that.
Roll call?
Alderman Hobbs. Alderman Harris. Alderman Miller. Alderman Higdon.
Aye.
Alderman McClendon.
Nay.
Alderwoman Brooks.
Aye.
Motion granted.
No, we got to agree.
Y'all working out?
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Asking for is a reduction of a bond amount. The request for reduction of Forest Meadows. Be Forest Meadows.
Civil link.
Civil Link?
Thank you, Mayor. The developer of Forest Meadows Phase 5 has put down the final coat of asphalt on the streets. As a result, is requesting the bond amount be reduced. Attached is a copy of the request that was emailed to the planning director. Attached to your staff report is a copy of the original letter from the city engineer that established the original subdivision bond amount. Also attached is a check from the developer that he gave to the city for the bond. Attached is also a letter from the city engineer establishing the new bond amount. The old
885.
Yeah, 88,500, the new bond amount would be 40,000. Because the final layer of asphalt has been installed and reviewed by the city engineer, staff recommends approval.
You good with it?
Yes. Motion to approve.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion granted. Request final plat approved for Montclair Phase 5.
Mr. Mr. Greg Smith and Dendrop Engineering is requesting final plat approval for Montclair Phase 5, which will be a 66-lot, single-family residential subdivision. This will be on the south side of the ditch from the first 4 phases. Included in your staff report is a summary of when the previous phases have been approved and the plats recorded. Standard subdivision comments will apply. The specific comments for this project, the pattern book required by Article 4, Section B, Paragraph H of the subdivision regulations has been supplied as part of the PUD approval. Prior to recording the plat, street names shall be assigned. Prior to recording the final plat, the developer shall enter into a development contract for public infrastructure with the city of Hernando. Prior to recording the final plat, the developer shall submit a list of lot numbers and corresponding street addresses for Phase 5. Because the street labeled as Eden is an extension of Eden Crossing, it shall be renamed accordingly. Because the street labeled at street number 1 is an extension of Clare Circle South, it shall be renamed accordingly. The Planning Commission action on this plat, the Planning Commission met on Tuesday, May the 12th, 2020, and voted to grant final plat approval. Staff recommendation is for approval subject to staff comments. I'll be happy to answer any of your questions, and Mr. Smith is available if you have questions for him.
Okay. So you're talking about this, what is this here?
That is Montclair Phase 5, the plat that you're, no, you're looking at the wrong one. That's the bond.
All right, I got Meadows. I knew something was wrong here. I'm like, this isn't the same subdivision.
That's the rezone. That's it.
Is there any ditch drainage that runs through this?
It will be along the northern boundary of this phase, which will also include some common open space that was dedicated or included as part of the PUD approval. That will be a recreational area.
So what's the closest that will be built in any structures to that? Do you know? Just off the top of your head, not to hold you. How far?
So I can answer that if you'd like me
Okay.
to. The common area is approximately 75 to 80 feet off the ditch before the lots even start. Then you have the rear setback, so you're probably looking well over 100 feet from any structures to the top end of that ditch. A lot further than that in some places. That's probably the closest one.
70 to 80 feet, can't slide.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Who's planning on maintaining this in the future?
That would be part of the homeowner association.
I'm not for that at all. And we've got to figure out a way to stop this, Kenny. And what can we do? I mean, the state of Mississippi ends up taking care of all this property because HOAs won't pay the taxes. And this is a huge problem here. It's not just you.
Okay.
Well, the only thing that I would say, Mayor, is that in the last 5 to 6 years, probably, maybe a little more, maybe a little less, the HOAs have become a lot more organized. And a lot of them are turning over management of their HOA to a company called, well, there's a couple of companies, but Keith Collins' company in Memphis is doing a lot of them. Now, Montclair is still being managed by Montclair. And don't know, I haven't talked to anybody, but if I had to guess, there's gonna be a point when enough of these phases, or maybe when it gets fully built out, that they are not gonna want that headache and they're gonna turn it over. So, and I'm not saying that will happen, but I'm saying they're becoming more organized and they're realizing that having an HOA in name only doesn't do any good. So what we're seeing, and I'm sure a lot of lenders can tell you, even putting an unfair burden on lawyers too, because they're not public. You know, you can't go see what the HOA dues are, but we've got, now we've got enough information, especially with these companies. I'm not saying for certain, but I think you're gonna see less and less of those tax issues. But you are right, that there are a lot of them where the homeowner associations were in name only, they weren't organized, but we're seeing them more and more organized. And they're turning over the management to a company who's making sure that the taxes get paid and make sure they have meetings and that they keep officers in place. I don't know what Montclair's intentions are, you may know.
I do not know.
All right, once it becomes a state of Mississippi's property, is it public lands?
Well, it's owned by the state of Mississippi, I couldn't answer. I would assume it's public, but I couldn't answer that.
We need to find an answer to that, because we need to open up a lot of trails for people.
Yeah, I mean.
We got quite a few miles of this.
Oh, I don't disagree with you, and I can tell you pretty much where you're talking about. But I'm just saying in the last 5 to 6, 7 years, and I mean, I'm just seeing that it's gotten a whole lot more organized. I'm seeing that from, the private practice of law side.
You're talking about more than just Hernando, I'm sure.
Oh, yes. But I'm saying that everybody it's all over the county. They have, a lot of the developers have seen the importance of a homeowner association being better managed. And if they're not doing it themselves, they're turning it over to management.
All right, well, I've had this visit with Mr. Joe Frank. Why can this ditch not be stabilized under soil conservation, Corps of Engineers and all that, this problem solved before a developer goes in? I've had engineers tell me it's no problem. I've had some engineers tell me it takes years.
Well, it's been a problem with Corps because of the environmental aspect of it. You change the environmental integrity of that ditch by stabilizing riprap.
But when it creates us a huge problem, we get soil conservation to come in and riprap it for us at 75%. Gone.
That's correct.
Does that not change the environmental?
The Corps still has to rule that on that. You still have to have that permission to do that. Now, it depends on what length of ditch you're gonna change. They allow you to do 150 feet, so that would pretty well with their permission. But I've just not seen a lot of people being able to do some stabilization on big creeks.
All right, let me ask you this. Can we, these lots bordering that ditch, can we put it on the deed that the city is not responsible for the ditch, the HOA is?
We can put anything to y'all's wishes on there.
I think you would want it on the plat versus the deed, because the deeds are gonna refer to the plat, and that's gonna be your notice to the public.
I think it should be both, because a lot of attorneys are missing this flood easement now, not flood zone. Is that correct?
That has happened.
That'd be a redundant system, because this flood easement has made a big issue, and nothing against attorneys, but I mean, they have been missing this. And it's caused quite some problems. I think the more redundancy, I mean, nothing against you, but this is just a huge issue.
I guess what I'm saying from the city side, if you put it on the plat, that's notice to the whole world that ditch is not owned by the city, and that it's the responsibility or the ownership is of the HOA.
Right.
And did I understand you that the ditch will be in, that part of the ditch that's owned by the developer will be in the HOA?
That's probably 75, 80 feet more than what the
Right,
ditch is.
but it's the ditch plus
And
the
it's gonna
bank.
be kept all natural, it's not gonna be an area you have to maintain.
Right.
So, that part of it won't be anyway.
That width is more encouraging.
Yeah, that's a lot of
You know, you don't wanna put a house right up on the, close to a ditch, even if your nose is high enough, it makes people nervous. It's just not a good thing.
They still got people buying.
And fences.
So that's my comment for it.
So we're not gonna accept any kind of drainage easement down through there.
Do we need it?
But the only way we can ever work on it is to have an easement.
If it's not ours, why do we wanna work on it?
Well, the same thing with all these letters we're getting about the need to work on drainage areas all over town. We don't have any easements on them, but we still get asked to work in these areas.
Well, whose problem is that?
Well, since we don't have an easement, we're not required to work there.
But if we had an easement, we'd be required to.
Not required.
required.
Not required. That would be we would legally have a way to work.
Instead of having to
In
go
the
to each
easement.
homeowner.
Instead of going to get temporary
It
easement.
doesn't say we have to work in there.
If we don't own it, no, why would we wanna go in there?
Well, you would only want to go in there is if under the law, you could go in there if it was a danger, creating a danger to the health or safety of the citizens or their property.
You don't have an easement over in, was that Deer Creek where the big tree fell over the sewer line? It's still in the ditch. We don't have an easement in that ditch right there.
Why is that?
The developer never gave us an easement in that area.
Well, that's a sewer line.
Well, we have a sewer line easement, but we, removing the gigantic tree out of that ditch, I mean, I'm getting calls about that. Why are we not moving the tree out of the ditch?
If they think we need a drainage easement, we got a problem with that.
A drainage easement, like over the HOA part?
No, just be within the ditch. Yeah, within the HOA,
I don't think that'd be a problem at all, I mean,
within the ditch.
yeah. I don't
It
think
wouldn't,
that'd be
it
a
wouldn't
problem.
put a burden on us to do any work. But now, I won't say it wouldn't cause a public perception problem when they read it. You know, they'd say, oh, the city's responsible because we got a drainage easement. It'd really be yeah, I guess it'd just be a drainage easement. We won't call it a maintenance easement.
That's the only two things I got. Anything else from the board?
Where's construction traffic going to this?
There's two crossings in that ditch, and they're using both crossings, I think primarily the north crossing.
But don't construction have to come through this, one of these other phases to get back here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The northern crossing probably has the least amount of traffic you have to go through, or road you have to go through to get there.
Y'all gonna bond that road?
Yes, sir. We'll bond anything that's not constructed this time we try to report it right.
We're gonna indicate exactly which road needs to be used and
We can do that.
I mean,
Is that Scott Road? Is that what we're talking about?
I believe it's, Eden Crossing is that north one. The one that runs right there by the park where the mailboxes are.
Scott Road is the main road access to the site, and Eden Crossing is the northern access to that side of the ditch.
so which road are you, indicating here?
If you look at sheet two of the plat,
Sorry.
if you look at sheet two of the plat, it would be the crossing that's on that sheet.
So you gotta come down Scott Road to go in to Eden.
Get into the surface.
Right. Well, construction traffic's gonna go through that road would need to be bonded. Don't you agree, Joe Frank?
Yes.
And how much would that bond need to be?
I just have to figure out the distance on that. I haven't figured the bond for the recorded yet. We'll have it tonight after you approve it.
Any questions? Do we have a motion? You could add in your motion, drainage and put it on the plan.
I'll make a motion to approve with the notation on the plat. This ditch is not a city-owned ditch, and upkeep and maintenance of the ditch is responsibility of the HOA. Is that what you want?
In the drainage.
Then we need a drainage.
What was that?
The same ditch have a drainage, city have an easement.
Okay, and add that into the statement.
Doc, can you add about bonding the road? You do?
Yes, sir, and add bonding of the road, if we
Construction.
come to an amount.
Don't make that figure.
Hey, y'all talking about bonding Scott Road? Is that what you're?
No,
Ever with the main entrance
the
is.
main entrance they'll use as a construction entrance over
There's
the
only
ditch.
one way in and out.
Existing subdivision.
They'd have to come down Scott to get there.
There's only one way in and out.
So Frank, should Scott be part of it then?
I believe so.
And then add Scott to the motion for binding purposes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion granted.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Item 14. Request for final plat approval for Trust Mark Commercial Subdivision.
It's gone.
Good place to check it out.
This is a request by Mr. David Baker and Fisher Home Incorporated for final plat approval for Trustmark Commercial Subdivision, which will be a one-lot commercial subdivision. Subject property is located on the northeast corner of East Commerce and East Parkway. The property is on C2 Highway Commercial. The two lots that are being combined into one are 534 East Commerce Street, which is Trustmark Bank, and 554 East Commerce Street, which is currently being used as Coleman's Barbecue. The subject property will have, have to meet the requirements of the C2 zoning district as far as setbacks and building heights. Any future development of the property shall be required to submit a certificate of development approval, construction plan approval, and neither of these are being requested with this application. If there is any future division of the property, it must also go through the subdivision process as defined in the City of Hernando subdivision regulations. If approved, the applicant shall submit a final plat for recording. The Planning Commission action on this item, the Planning Commission met May the 12th, 2020, and voted to grant final plat approval. Staff recommendation is for approval subject to staff comments. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have, and Mr. Baker is present if you have questions for me.
How does this affect the ad valorem tax? Changing from one lot, two lots to one lot.
From 2 to 1, it would still be based on the assessed value, so whatever project is being constructed on that site would be assessed by the assessor's office, and then the taxes based on that assessment. It is possible that it could go up. It's possible it could stay the same. We won't know until the project comes before us, is approved, is built, and the assessor makes their ruling.
So in general, if it's one lot, is there an addition for an extra lot? I mean, I guess
In
does it
general,
start with this base and then works its way up?
if you're going from 2 lots to 1, it'll be based on whatever project is. If you're combining lots, there's a good chance you're gonna tear down whatever's on site and start from scratch. And if it's having to combine 2 lots, the resulting project is probably gonna be bigger than either the 2 sites that are there now. Which, in my thought, would be an increase in assessed value.
Just a question.
Any questions?
So how big does it make this one lot now? 2 acres?
1.4.
1.44.
Yeah, he's probably gonna need to show some easements on here, because there's some utilities out there.
So I guess if it's changed to different use, then sidewalks will be required?
Well, if it's a complete site raised, and there's no sidewalks there, and it's a new project, yes, sidewalks will be required.
I was just asking.
At least you don't have a kid.
Let's get that out on the front.
Ready for a motion?
I make a motion, grant final plan approval for Trustmark Commercial Subdivision and 1 lot commercial subdivision located at the northeast corner of East Commerce and East Parkway, subject to all staff comments.
You have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion granted. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Approved utility bill adjustment document.
I'd like to make a motion.
Hey, Andrew, go ahead.
Make a motion to approve the utility bill adjustment document, and that customers have a little bit not received benefit. Also request that that the water leak verification form and tap document be made all of them.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion granted. Motion go in closed session. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Let's take a break also, because we're gonna be here a while.
Okay.